Have you ever entered some studio? You feel irritated by the arrangement of things in that studio. This is one of the concerns that I have with some studios. You can see wires everywhere. The arrangement is so bad. Like the speaker is here, the amplifier is here, the come on, it's so scattered and it doesn't look good. If you have a studio, check your studio very well. I mean, if it's a church, make sure that everything are well arranged. Step by step, the mixer should be somewhere positioned at the center, not at a corner, because it is a mixer. That is where you mix your sound. That is where you are mixing your lightings. That is where you are mixing the videos. There's some other things a speaker should be behind, in front, some other things should follow. Then the wires that you're using for your connections should have a wire racket. There's some studio you enter now, and I so bet you that if anything happens in that studio, it will take like 1 week before they can trace the issues. How can you have a studio and your arrangement is not done properly? It doesn't make sense. Now, if something happens and you don't know where to start to trace the issues from, arrange your studio in such a way that if something happens now, you can literally trace the issues within 30 seconds and know what's the fault. I mean, there's some studio everywhere on the floor. Wires are moving from this corner to this corner. You're like, why don't you guys find a wire racket whereby you can keep the wires? Stop crossing wire from one end to another end. It doesn't make sense. Your studio needs to be arranged in such a way that if anything happens, you can easily trace the issues and the fault and solve it within seconds. If it is a wire issue, you can easily pluck it out, remove the wire entirely, plug another one. The mixing console should be at the center of the studio. Both the sound, lightings, visual console, they should be at the center. Then all other wires should not pass under the table. Every wire should be inside the wire racket. The speakers need to be behind and in front. Balance the sound within the studio. The AC needs to be at a corner. Optimize the space you have in your studio. Stop putting everything and anything the way you want it to be. No, if you can't do it, look for an interior decor to make the arrangement for you. It will make sense so that in case if something happens, you can easily trace that issues. If a wire is having a fault, before you unplug it and unplug the other end, if I had that, it will take weeks. I mean, there are some studios like that. It takes weeks for them to trace an issue. It shouldn't be so. Few seconds, you should have traced the issues, know the fault, look for a remedy. That is how a studio should be. Apart from the equipment and the facilities you have in the studio well arranged, the sitting position should be well arranged also. Everybody can easily stand up from a seat and touch something on the console in case there's an emergency. You know, there are some studios you get into, before the person will leave his seat and move down to the other corner, the stove has gone far. It shouldn't be so. The sitting position should also be arranged in such a way that you can easily stand up from your seat and touch a knob to correct an issue. Knowing fully well that you are not going to be standing 24 hours during the service. At least sometimes you need to go and sit down and rest. And at the same time, you are seeing what is happening, you are hearing what is happening, you know what should be done at every particular point in time. I mean, your hand should at least reach the console from your sitting position. And even the persons that are on the back seat, they should be able to view and give corrections wherever necessary. It's all about arrangement. Arrange your studio very well.